All right, Shay. Well, you know what this week's episode is all about, the weigh-in.
The weigh-in.
Right?
Our beautiful scales.
Okay. Right? Speaking of scales, our birthdays are vastly approaching. Like, what do we have? Like 3 weeks?
Yes.
Crazy.
And we potentially have a live episode coming around that time too.
It's in the works. So hopefully we can pull this off. But how cool would it be if the two of us can spend our birthdays together?
It would be amazing because I've never spent my birthday with a birthday twin besides my cousin Marcus. Shout out to my cousin Marcus.
Hey, Marcus.
But
October 6th?
He's October 6th. Yeah.
Aw.
Yep.
Love.
So,
okay.
That would be really exciting.
But look, I think today we just need to weigh in on some of the things that are happening. It sickens me to see the amount of violence in the world.
Yes.
And those kind of celebrities and things that are happening to them. We talk about having a sense of awareness, and it's just sad. Like, so what are some of the things that has rocked your world lately? I know there's just so many, but anything in particular that...
Yeah. So when I first moved to Philly, not the first rapper, but the first artist that, I guess one of the first was Travis Scott. Nafis put me on, but then he also put me on another rapper named PnB Rock.
Yes.
And PnB Rock is from Philly.
Okay.
And, right?
Philadelphia, Philly in the house. Okay.
Oh man. He was making incredible songs about just getting out the hood, understanding where he comes from in the streets of Philadelphia and understanding how, it's just been holding the community down, holding him back. And so how he's been trying to get out. And so he lived in LA where he was recording and making music. And unfortunately, he was murdered the other day in Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
That was so sad.
And he was robbed in broad daylight for his chains and his watch.
Broad daylight.
Yeah.
And you know what the sad
really
part is? It crushed my soul when I heard that, and you just don't think about, like, you're on your way to grab a bite to eat with your person, your friend, your partner, colleague, anyone. So you're just going to go grab a bite.
Right.
And you would never fathom, like, this will be the last time that I live my life is by going to this restaurant or this location. And I can tell you what's sad is, like, I'm born and raised from Philly, lived there most of my life. And to see how much violence is happening in the city right now is scary. Like, there has been an uptick in just cars that are being taken. And a lot of just, it's crazy if you see the amount of deaths that are just rising every day in the city of Philadelphia. Gun violence is at an all-time high. And to see all this going on in such a beautiful city, like, how beautiful is Philadelphia? It is absolutely
so
gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
So to see all this happening in my city where I'm from, and it's such a beautiful place, it's just disheartening. And to see this happening to those who are well off, like celebrities and rappers, and
so
even
hard to gain notoriety, gain wealth.
Yeah.
But it's also like a testament to where we're at in the world with inflation, recession.
Sure.
A lot of people are hurting coming out of the pandemic, don't want to work, haven't been able to get jobs or, pick back up where they left off.
Yeah.
And it's just sad because I think also we need to change our habits, like athletes and celebrities, especially the Black communities who I'm talking to, is like, it's really, you got to be mindful of where you are in the world. Like, and I don't know if people know this, but celebrities and athletes can't just travel around to cities and go where they want in certain neighborhoods. You have to check in.
Got to be careful. Yeah.
And so checking in, meaning there are people there who, kind of control the streets and do what they do. And so those type of people, you can't just go in and start doing what you want. And I think there was a combination of that. I'm not sure, but I'm just trying to piece it all together.
Yeah.
That the Roscoe's that he was at was not a Roscoe's that famous or, well-known people go to or should go to. And you have to be mindful too of where people are in the world. Like, if these people don't have as much as you do, chances are you're going to make yourself a target. So just athletes and rappers or anybody just with, a certain status, just be mindful of where you're going and be careful of what you're doing. And I think that's kind of the lesson that I am taking from this. And it just sucks that I have to think like that. It sucks that he can't go where he wants to go.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand that. Yeah, Shay. And, I talk to Mikkel about that all the time, as being very aware of his surroundings. And although you just want to be yourself, because especially those who, like Mikkel, like he's a humble dude and he just wants to live his life like he's lived it pre-NBA. And I say, look, dude, that's not your life anymore. Like you are, no matter what, you are an athlete, you're an NBA player.
Right.
And people are just going to assume that you have something that they may want. Yeah. So you have to be very mindful about where you go, who you go with, what you tell, how you tell people, tell people where you're going to be. Who
knows where you are.
Yep. Like all those things matter. And I know it sucks because, these are, celebrities, athletes. Yep. These are just people who are regular people and they want to do things that they've always done. Yep. But because we live in the world that we live in, you have to be careful. You have to be thoughtful and you have to have a very heightened sense of awareness. And you also need to be very careful about who you let in your circle and the people that you be around. And it sucks, but it's a necessity.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, it makes me think about too, just the partner that you choose. And, if you're in a certain lifestyle, that person has to be aligned with what you're doing.
That's right.
That person has to always have your best interest at heart to protect you, to understand that like, yeah, you can talk to everybody, but that, individual that is in the spotlight can't. So I think it's also like choosing, the right partner to understand and just kind of help you, stay safe as well. Like be your eyes.
Be safe.
So that's not the only thing going on. There's a lot more things going on, but that was one thing that's been on my heart.
That stood out the most.
Follow.
Yeah. You know what? It makes me think of this story and it really breaks my heart. I was talking to Brother Muhammad about it the other day. My mom had a childhood friend. They grew up together, he lived on our street and he was a really nice guy. And I remember him being like, I call him the IT guys because, poor little Tania has had these technology type problems since she was a little girl. So when I started using computers, I was like, I can't do this. All the other kids are like using their computers. I'm like, So he was such a nice guy. He used to come over and help me. And when we had issues, he used to fix my computers. Well, he had ran into some money. I can't remember if it was like he hit the lottery or someone passed away, but he came into a crazy amount of money. And his significant other in his life, she had took some pictures with like a bunch of money all over the bed, like just money everywhere, like lying in the bed, and posted it on Facebook. And someone saw those pictures and they went to his house, robbed him and killed him. And I will never forget that story because this was just someone who was just such a good person, such a very nice guy. And because of that picture, people saw it and they went and, robbed him and killed him. And I'll never forget that. It's just something that sat with me for a very long time.
Yeah. No, and that's the same thing that happened with, Pop Smoke. He had posted his location and then they ran in his house. And a lot of people I've been seeing reported in LA specifically, a lot of houses have been getting burglarized. And I know here in Atlanta, Buckhead was having a lot of those issues. So it's just a hard time in the world.
Very hard time.
We have to be safer. We have to be more mindful.
Very thoughtful about where you go. And what you post. I know. Right. Like, look, you guys know I'm an old turd and I'm not the biggest fan of social media. I don't post much of anything outside of stuff with my pod. I just feel like my business is my business and I don't want to tell the world about it. I told those who are on a need to know basis. But for those of you who do love social media, I get it. I respect it. I watch a lot of stuff. I go on Instagram and laugh at other people's stuff. But please be careful about what you post, about your personal business, about your finances. Are your finances. It's not meant for the world to see. Right. And again, if you are someone, although you might not you might think yourself of being a celebrity. If you are someone of power, people know who you are, or you're dressing flashy. Now, you don't even have to be a celebrity, but if you have on something that looks expensive, you gotta be careful about where you go. Correct. And especially about telling people, sending out your location so the world can see and know where you're at. I hate to say it, but you just can't do it. You got to be careful.
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just makes me sad that that's where we are in the world, taking people's lives over chains and watches. Like, it just makes you feel like you don't want to achieve. It's like, it's almost like I just rather not. It's like you can't enjoy your wealth. You can't enjoy, your successes because there are, these haters, these lurkers, these people out here always clocking your every move, especially if you're a celebrity or somebody of clout or whatever they say.
Exactly. Well, listen, tippers, be careful, be smart, be vigilant, and more important, be safe. And please continue to listen to Tipping the Scales wherever you get your podcast. Shay and I appreciate you, and we love to just continue on this journey with you.
Yep. And rest in peace, PnB, and praying for his family and his daughters.
Sending out love and peace to your family. Thank you. See you guys later. Bye.